The High Court of Judicature at Madras, one of the 3 chartered high courts in India, established at the presidency towns by the letter patents granted by Her Majesty Queen Victoria. This was one of the chartered high courts we all know. And this is the highest court for the state of Tamil Nadu as well. Exercising original jurisdiction over the city of Madras and appellate jurisdiction over the entire state, as well as the extraordinary original jurisdiction, civil and criminal, under the letter patent, and special original jurisdiction for the issue of writs under the Constitution of India. And we have one another high court, the Madurai bench also. After a very long time, we have 2 benches of the Madras High Court, one at the principal seat at Madras, one at the Madurai seat. And we all know the building was formally opened by His Excellency, the Right Honorable Bailey Baron Venka, the Chief Justice of Madras, Sir Arthur Collins. At the time when the High Court of Madras was opened, this great building. That was in the year 1892. The High Court was started in the year 1862. But this building, the present building, was inaugurated, came into existence from 1892. Till then, the Madras High Court was functioning opposite to the Madras Harbour. There was a building, it was functioning from that place, and the present building comes into existence. After receiving the key, the new building, the Chief Justice Arthur Collins addressed to the Excellency Governor of Madras, voicing the acceptance and promising for himself and his brother judges to do their duty in the fear of God and without fear of men. And after them, so many doyens have tread this great building.
Today, I'm going to talk about the first Indian judge, Sir T. Muthuswamy Iyer. He was the first Indian judge of the Madras High Court. அவருடைய ஸ்டாச்சு எல்லாரும் நீங்க பார்த்துருப்பீங்க, மறக்காத அவர் நீங்க மிஸ்ஸே பண்ண முடியாது. So his statue is there, the marble statue, which is installed in the quadrangle of the Madras High Court. And அவரை பத்தி நான் பேசணும்னா அது ஒரு 2-3 செஷன் ஆயிடும். So what I am planning to do is I'm going to divide the session. First session about his early years, then the next session will be after he became High Court judge, and most important is அவரோட ஸ்டாச்சு வைக்கிறதுக்கு எவ்வளவு அப்போசிஷன் இருந்தது, அந்த அப்போசிஷனுக்கு மீறி எப்படி ஒரு சீஃப் ஜஸ்டிஸ் ஆஃப் தி மெட்ராஸ் ஹை கோர்ட் இன் தோஸ் டைம்ஸ் Sir Arthur Collins insisted that the statue should be there in the Madras High Court, and a lot of the Indian wakils opposed to installing that statue in the Madras High Court. அது ஒரு தனி சாப்டர் where several oppositions were made by our doyens of the bar, avangale. So considering all that, we will start with Sir T. Muthuswamy Iyer. Thiruvarur, was from Thiruvarur, but actually அவர் பிறந்த ஊர் உச்சவாடிங்கிறது. It is about 2 kilometers from Thiruvarur. அங்கதான் அவர் பிறந்தாரு. He was born on 28th of January 1832. அங்கதான் பிறந்தாரு அவரு. And he came from a very, very humble family. Our father they were living in poverty. Actually, அவங்க சாப்பிட்றதுக்கு கூட வழி கிடையாது. அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷன்ல தான் he was born in those circumstances. அதுல இருந்து எப்படி அவர் மேல வந்தாரு அப்படிங்கிறது தான் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போறோம். From that, how did he come up to this level? He was earning 1 rupee when he started, and how did he end up earning 3,500 rupees in 1878 when he became the judge of the Madras High Court? The rise of Sir T. Muthuswamy. Before we start, Sir Arthur Collins கிட்ட ஒருத்தர் கேட்டாரு, ஒரு சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா ஒருத்தர் மனுஷன் ஒரு பிராக்டிஸ் பண்ணணும்னா வாட் ஆர் தி குவாலிட்டிஸ் அப்படின்னு ஒருத்தர் கேட்டார் சார் ஆத்தர் காலின்ஸ் கிட்ட. அவர் சொன்னாரு, I am reading from some of the biographical notes of Sir T. Muthuswamy Iyer written by Doraiswamy Iyer in 1970. அதுல இருந்து சில எக்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் எடுத்திருக்கேன் நான். அவர் சொன்னாரு, what contributed most to the success at the bar அப்படின்னு ஒருத்தர் கேட்கிறாரு சார் ஆத்தர் காலின்ஸ் கிட்ட. He was the first Chief Justice of India. சார் தமிழ்நாடு மெட்ராஸ். அதுக்கு அவர் பதில் சொல்றாரு, some succeed by great talent, some succeed by influence of friends, and some succeed by luck and miracle, but the majority succeed by starting from poverty அப்படின்னு. அது பாவர்ட்டின்னு சொல்லல, by commencing without a shilling அப்படின்னா, ஒரு பைசா கூட இல்லாதவன் வந்து அவன் தான் முன்னுக்கு வரதுக்கு வாய்ப்புகள் ஜாஸ்தி அப்படின்னாரு. ஆர் சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கிறதுக்கு அதுதான் வந்து முக்கியமான காரணம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாரு. I think when he said that, he had Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer in his mind. So அவர் என்ன சொன்னார்னா, what did he say was, a person who commences or starts his career or comes from a background without a shilling, definitely he will be successful at the bar அப்படின்னாரு. It is true, very true. When I'm just the doyens of the bar or the bench படிக்கும்போது, most of them came from very humble background and they started their lives in a very very small way. இந்த இதுல வந்து இப்போ இது வந்து இந்த ஒரு saying is very relevant not only for members practicing at the bar but also those who are elevated to the bench. So இந்த ஒரு தருணத்துல வந்து I am going to refer only to Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer, who came from a very humble background. அவருடைய father Venkatrama Shastri was a very poor man and he suffered ill health also and he died very young when Sir Muthuswami Iyer and his brother Vaidyanatha Swami Iyer, they were both the two sons of Venkatrama Shastri. And அவங்க அம்மா வந்து ரொம்ப வீட்டுல எல்லாம் வேலை செஞ்சு பல வீட்டுல வேலை செஞ்சுதான் வந்து she brought them up. So அவங்களுக்கு வந்து they came from very very humble background. So Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer had to start working from a very young age. So he joined the village Karnam. அந்த ஊர்ல வந்து திருவாரூருக்கு போனாங்க. They shifted from Uchavadi village to Tiruvarur because she wanted to give some basic primary education to her children. So but அந்த ஸ்கூல்ல எல்லாம் வந்து அங்க வந்து ரொம்ப வந்து புவர் ஸ்டாண்டர்ட். அங்க the standard was very very poor. As a result, even that they could not afford. அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷன்ல தான் ரெண்டு பேர் அவங்க ஃபேமிலி இருந்தது. So he had to go to work. So அதனால திருவாரூர்ல he joined the village accountant's office on a monthly salary of ₹1. After that, அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து அவருடைய diligence, அவருடைய ஹார்ட் ஒர்க்னால he came up in life. He started getting from recognition சொல்றேன். So அந்த recognition எப்படி வந்ததுன்னா, அவர் வீட்டுல அந்த கர்ணம் வீட்டுல வேலை செய்யும் போதே வந்து ரொம்ப he showed a lot of remarkable intelligence in simple matters. வந்து he was able to solve simple matters very easily. அவருடைய கிளாரிட்டி ஆஃப் தாட் அப்பவே இருந்திருக்கு அந்த வயசுலயே. அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது அவருடைய சேலரிய வந்து அந்த மிஸ்ஸஸ் அந்த அவங்க கர்ணம் அந்த அவங்க ஒய்ஃப் வந்து இவர் மந்த்லி சேலரி ₹1 இருந்தா கூட அந்த அம்மா வந்து ₹1 எக்ஸ்ட்ரா கொடுப்பாங்க. பிகாஸ் அந்த வீட்டு வேலைகள் அந்த இதெல்லாம் கூட அவர் செய்வார். அவர் அவ்வளவு ஒரு he was so capable, he was so hard working and he had clarity of thought. ஸோ அதனால அந்த ₹1 அவருடைய மந்த்லி சேலரி அந்த அவங்க ஒய்ஃப் வந்து ₹100 கொடுப்பாங்க. ஸோ ₹2 per month he was getting. இப்படிதான் ஆரம்பிச்சாரு அவர். சப்சிக்வெண்ட்லி என்னாச்சுன்னா அவருடைய salary got increased to ₹3 per month because of his hard work. And that was a very great relief for him because he was able to afford 3 meals a day. அந்த காலத்துல 3 meals a dayங்கிறதே ஒரு பெரிய பாடா இருந்தது அவருக்கு. அவ்வளவு ஒரு கஷ்டத்துல இருந்தார் அவர். And subsequently the salary also was increased to ₹5 per month. ₹5 per month பாத்துக்கோங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணாங்க, தென் அந்த அவருடைய வேலையை பார்த்து இந்த ஆபீசர்ஸ் ஆஃப் தி தாலுகா saw some prominence, ஒரு பிரில்லியன்ஸ் அவர்கிட்ட இருக்குங்கிறத அவங்க புரிஞ்சுட்டாங்க. அதை வந்து they wanted to they said this boy is really intelligent, அதனால whatever encouragement we have to give அப்படின்னு சொல்லி இந்த தாலுக்ல இருக்கிறவங்க எல்லாம் வந்து என்ன பண்ணாங்க, they started utilizing his services and they felt that his perseverance, his hard work was very evident right from his young age. இதுக்கு நடுவுல அவங்களுடைய மதர் ஆல்சோ வாஸ் ஒர்க்கிங் இன் செவரல் ஹவுசஸ் அண்ட் she wanted முத்துசுவாமி ஐயர் அவருடைய மகனுக்கு பெட்டர் எஜுகேஷன் தரணும் அப்படிங்கிறது அவங்களுடைய ஒரு விருப்பமா இருந்தது. ஸோ அதனால என்ன பண்ணாங்க, they said they will shift to நாகப்பட்டினம். நாகப்பட்டினத்துல பெட்டர் எஜுகேஷன் இருந்தது and there was better schools also in நாகப்பட்டினம், and so they shifted from திருவாரூர் டு நாகப்பட்டினம். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா ஒரு இன்சிடென்ட் நடந்தது. என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, அவர் ஒரு அப்ரெண்டிஸ்ஷிப்பா இருந்தாரு, ஒரு அக்கௌண்டன்ட் இன் திருவாரூர் வீட்ல. he was working as an apprentice. In 1946 there was an incident which probably made many people turn around and start taking notice of him. அது என்ன இன்சிடென்ட்னா, ஒரு பிரீச், அதாவது there was a breach அந்த ஒரு பண்டில் ஒரு பிரீச் இருந்தது. அதனால என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, அந்த தண்ணி எல்லாம் வர ஆரம்பிச்சு இட் வாஸ் கிரியேட்டிங் ஹேவாக் இந்த கிராப்ஸ் எல்லாம் டிஸ்ட்ராய் பண்றதுக்கு. the breach was causing a lot of problems for the crops. அதெல்லாம் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் லேண்ட்ஸ், அந்த பக்கம்லாம் lot of agricultural lands are there. ஸோ அதனால என்ன பண்ண சொன்னாரு, இந்த அக்கௌண்ட் என்ன சொன்னாரு, நீங்க அவர்கிட்ட சொல்லி நீங்க போய் இதை பார்த்துட்டு வாங்க, என்ன வாட் இஸ் தி ப்ராப்ளம், என்ன வாட் இஸ் தி காஸ் ஆஃப் திஸ் பிரீச் அப்படிங்கிறத ஒரு ரிப்போர்ட் எழுதிட்டு வாங்கன்னு சொன்னாரு. இவரும் போய் ஒரு ரிப்போர்ட் எழுதிட்டு வந்து he submitted the report to the accountant of the தாலுக். நெக்ஸ்ட் டே என்ன பண்ணாரு, அவர் இன்னொரு மோர் சீசன் மோர் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்ட் பர்சனை போய் பார்த்துன்னு வர சொன்னார். to just check whether the report given by முத்துசாமி ஐயர் was correct or it was accurate அப்படின்னு. And they found out that the report given by முத்துசுவாமி ஐயர், that is அவ்வளவு சின்ன பையன் அவருடைய ரிப்போர்ட்டும் இந்த ஒரு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் சொன்ன ரிப்போர்ட்டும் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் மேட்ச்ட். அக்யூரேட்னா ஆல்மோஸ்ட் அக்யூரேட், மீன் இட் வாஸ் அக்யூரேட் அப்படி சொல்லிடுறேன். இதுதான் அவருடைய வாழ்க்கையில ஒரு திருப்பு முனையா அமைஞ்சிருக்கு. Everybody started recognizing him and they said we should give him encouragement. The Tahsildar felt that Muthuswami Iyer should be given better education and he should receive English education அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அந்த இதுலயே அந்த ஒரு தாலுக்குலயே ஒரு ஸ்கூல் இருந்தது. அந்த ஸ்கூல் ஒன் மிஸ்டர் சொக்கலிங்கம், அவர் தான் அங்க ஹெட் மாஸ்டரா இருந்தார். அவர் முத்துசுவாமி ஐயரை நான் ஃப்ரீயாவே படிக்க வைக்கிறேன், அவர் எந்த ஃபீஸும் தர வேண்டாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி he started teaching முத்துசுவாமி ஐயர். அண்ட் முத்துசுவாமி ஐயருக்கு என்னன்னா ஒரு 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 டைலமா என்னன்னா, நம்ம ஃப்ரீயாவே எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம், எல்லாம் நம்ம பண்றாங்களே, நம்ம ஒன்றும் பண்ணலையே அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவர் என்ன பண்ணுவார், பாதி நேரம் அவரு he was a very shy person because he felt because of his poverty அவர் மற்றவங்களை பார்க்கறதுக்கு ரொம்ப கூச்சப்பட்டார் அவர். பிகாஸ் இந்த வாத்தியார் இவருடைய ஃபீஸை கட்டுறாரு, வேற யாராவது சில 2 பேர் இவருக்கு இந்த ஃபுட் எல்லாம் கொடுக்குறாங்க, எல்லாமே ஃப்ரீயா கிடைக்கிறது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவருக்கு அதுல he was very much he was in a dilemma. அந்த சமயத்துல என்ன பண்ணுவாருன்னா, இப்ப எல்லா படிப்புலயும் அவர் தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட். இப்ப அவர் பேரை சொல்லும் போது அவர் என்ன பண்ணுவாருன்னா, பின்னாடி போய் மறைஞ்சு ஒளிஞ்சுருவாரு. ஏன்னா he didn't want others to see who that person is. அவ்வளவு ஒரு கூச்ச சுபாவம் கொண்டவர் சார் முத்துசுவாமி ஐயர். அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, அந்த டீச்சரே என்ன பண்ணாரு, இங்கிலீஷ் புக் வாங்கி கொடுக்க ஆரம்பிச்சாரு. அவரு இது நீ கொஞ்சம் படிப்பா, உனக்கு ஈஸியா இதெல்லாம் இது படிச்சேன்னா உனக்கு ரொம்ப முன்னுக்கு வரதுக்கு ஈஸியா இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொன்ன அப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணுவாரு, அவரு வேலையெல்லாம் முடிச்ச அப்புறம் சாயங்காலம் உட்காந்து அவர் படிப்பாரு. He made an effort to go through all those books, but elementary books தான், not very high, the sophisticated books கிடையாது, elementary books. அதுல அவர் படிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சாரு நல்லா to start with. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, his performance became extraordinary. இப்போ அவர் என்ன பண்ணாரு, இப்போ டிராஃப்டிங் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சாரு. இப்போ அக்கௌண்டன்ட் ஆபீஸ்ல இங்கிலீஷ் டிராஃப்டிங்ல அவர் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சாரு. He started doing that. And he used to go to the Tahsildar's house. ஏதான அவருக்கு டவுட் இருந்தா அதை கேட்பாரு அவரு. இது என்ன சார் இது என்ன சார் இது அப்படின்னு கேட்பாரு. அதனால என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, இப்ப திருவாரூர்ல வந்து எலிமெண்டரி ஸ்கூல் தான் இருந்தது. அதனால அந்த ஹையர் செகண்டரி ஸ்கூலுக்கு அந்த மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் ஹையர் எஜுகேஷன் பண்றதுக்கு இந்த தாசில்தார் ரெக்கமெண்டட் ஹிம் தட் ஹி ஷுட் கோ டு நாகப்பட்டினம். அப்படிதான் நாகப்பட்டினத்துக்கு வந்தாரு. அங்க வந்து மிஷன் ஹை ஸ்கூல் அப்படின்னு ஒரு ஸ்கூல் இருக்குது. மிஷன் இங்கிலீஷ் ஸ்கூல், ராதா மிஷன் இங்கிலீஷ் ஸ்கூல். அங்க வந்து அவர் சேர்த்தாங்க. அண்ட் இந்த 18 months of his stay was extraordinary. He displayed extraordinary intelligence, and application of mind. That is where he started developing that clarity of thought, clarity of writing, and also how to do administrative work, because he was a very good administrator. நார்மலா அவர் புக்ஸ் வச்சுக்கிறது, அவருடைய புக்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து ஒரு இந்த அக்கௌண்ட் புக்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து ஒரு இதா சிஸ்டமா வச்சுக்கிறதுக்கு he was a very good administrator. So எங்க போனாலும் அவருக்கு பேர் நல்ல பேர் அது, because of his hard work and his application of mind. அங்க என்னாச்சுன்னா, ஆஃப்டர் தட் தி தாசில்தார் felt, அது வந்து இன்னைக்கு கூட நீங்க நாகப்பட்டினம் போனீங்கன்னா வெஸ்ட்லி மிஷன் இங்கிலீஷ் ஸ்கூல் அப்படின்னு இருக்கு. அங்க அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அலுமினை, நம்ம அலுமினை வந்து அவர் பேர் தான் இருக்கும். இன்னைக்கும் அந்த ஊர்ல அந்த ஸ்கூல் இருக்கு. அந்த ஸ்கூல்ல வந்து அவருடைய பேரும் அங்க இருக்கு. இஸ் தி அலுமினை ஆஃப் தி ஸ்கூல் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அங்க இருக்கு. சப்சிக்வென்ட்லி என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, இந்த தாசில்தார் வந்து என்ன, he felt that சர் டி முத்துசாமி ஐயர் should receive higher education சொல்லி அவரை மெட்ராஸ்க்கு அனுப்புறாங்க. That was in 1856-57 அந்த 46-47 அந்த சமயத்துல வந்து he was sent to Madras for further education. And அவர் வந்து அவர் மதரை விட்டுட்டு போறதுக்கு ரொம்ப ரிலக்டண்டா இருந்தாரு. பட் his mother also told him that if you want to grow up in life, you have to go to Madras. So Madras was the அங்கதான் வந்து the higher education, and he was able to come into connection with Holloway, Justice Holloway, who became Justice Holloway later. அவர் தான் ப்ரொஃபஸரா இருந்தாரு பிரசிடென்சி காலேஜ்ல. அந்த பிரசிடென்சி ஸ்கூலுங்க தான் இருந்தது அப்போ. அப்புறம் then it was called a college. அதுல ஜஸ்டிஸ் ஹாலோவே வாஸ் தி ப்ரொஃபஸர். அவர் வந்து என்ன கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்ணாரு, அவர் எவ்வளவு கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்ணாரு ஃபார் தி growth of Justice T. Muthuswamy Iyer, and how he recommended Justice Muthuswamy Iyer to become the judge of the Madras High Court. So before he became a judge of the Madras High Court, he was in the subordinate judiciary, small causes court னு சொல்லுவாங்க, அதுல இருந்தார் அவரு. then he was in the sessions court, and then he elevated to the High Court of Madras. இதான் அவருடைய starting of the journey. Now coming to the education, மெட்ராஸுக்கு அவர் வந்த உடனே சர் டி மாதவராவ் அப்படின்னு, he is also another doyen, and அவர் வீட்டுல தான் இவர் வந்து தங்கியிருந்தார். he was staying in his house, and அவரே வந்து இப்ப புக்ஸும் கொடுத்து படிக்கவும் வச்சு அவர் வீட்டுல தான் தங்கியிருந்தாரு. and Madhavrao used to take care of him, and the food எல்லாமே everything was taken care of by Sir T. Madhavrao, another doyen of the bar. அப்போ then he joined the Madras the Presidency School, which later became the Presidency College. அப்போ வந்து in the words of Mr. Duraiswamy Iyer, who was the biographer of Muthuswamy Iyer's book called Reminiscences of a Great Judge, which was written in the year 1917, and in November 1917. அதுல அவர் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, துரைசாமி ஐயர் வந்து முத்துசுவாமி ஐயரை பத்தி என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, his study of books was always methodical, and he hated skimming through the pages. Word by word அவர் படிப்பார். Those who have seen his old school books could form an adequate idea of the careful analysis and critical notes which adorn the margins on every page of his books. And no wonder that such a critical and analytical method of study had helped him to command a strong memory, which was the conspicuous feature in all his judicial services of later days. அவருடைய மெத்தடாடிக்கல் வே ஆஃப் அனலைசிங், ரைட்டிங் நோட்ஸ், மேக்கிங் ரிமார்க்ஸ் helped him even when he became a judge of the Madras High Court. ஸோ அவருடைய ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்து காலேஜ்ல இருந்து ஹைகோர்ட் வர மட்டும் அவருடைய சிஸ்டம் ஆஃப் ஸ்டடி, அவருடைய அனாலிசிஸ், அவருடைய கிரிட்டிக்கல் நோட்ஸ், அவருடைய ரிசர்ச் நோட்ஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்கா மெத்தடாடிக்கலா எழுதினதுனால அவருடைய ஜட்மெண்ட்ஸும் மெத்தடாடிக்கலாகவும் சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்காகவும் அனாலிட்டிக்கலாகவும் இருக்கும். அந்த ஜட்மெண்ட்ஸை பத்தி நான் நெக்ஸ்ட் when I'm talking about this judgments, அதுல நான் 2-3 ஜட்மெண்ட்ஸ் அப்புறம் நான் சொல்லுவேன் உங்களுக்கு, நெக்ஸ்ட் செக்ஷன்ல சொல்லுவேன். பட் இந்த செஷன்ல I'm just giving a build up of how he developed that habit of methodical way of doing things. Subsequently என்னாச்சு, in 1846 the Presidency College was founded in 1841. It became a college in 1841 under the name of the High School of the Madras University அப்படின்னு ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. Madras, the Presidency College. It was founded in 1841 under the name of High School of the Madras University. So முதல்ல ஸ்கூலா இருந்து then it became a college and it was attached to the Madras University. The old high school, this was managed by a council of education. Aதாவது they had a council of people who were managing the education, comprising of liberal minded Englishmen such as Arbuthnot, William Holloway and Sir Henry Montgomery. Adila Holloway became the judge of the Madras High Court. And the principal வந்து Powell, he was the principal of the college and he took extraordinary interest in Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer, and he encouraged him a very great way. Adha na solla poren. That's what I'm going to now come to. அந்த சமயத்துல வந்து போவல் வந்து என்ன பண்ணுவார்னா, he used to give a lot of notes, extra notes to Muthuswami Iyer, knowing his capacity as a person. Any homework which was given to him was finished the next day. There is no question of any postponement of the submission. அவ்வளவு ஒரு சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்கா பண்ணுவார் அவர். அப்போதான் வந்து ஒரு இன்சிடென்ட் வந்து என்ன நடந்ததுன்னா வந்து he was in Mylapore at that time. So Mylaporeல வந்து during that sometimes there used to be power failure. வீட்லலாம் சம்டைம்ஸ் பவர் ஃபெயிலியர் இருக்கும்போது அவர் என்ன பண்ணுவாரு, இந்த ஸ்ட்ரீட் லைட்ஸுக்கு அங்க உட்காந்துக்கிட்டு யூஸ் டு கம்ப்ளீட் தி ஹோம்ஒர்க். இஃப் தேர் இஸ் எனி பவர் ஷார்டேஜ் யூஸ் டு சிட் அண்டர் தி ஸ்ட்ரீட் லைட்ஸ் அண்ட் யூஸ் டு ஃபினிஷ் ஹிஸ் அசைன்மெண்ட்ஸ். அதுக்கு தான் வந்து இப்போ நிறைய பேர் அந்த ஒரு இன்சிடென்ட் தான் நிறைய பேர் என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, இப்போ முத்துசுவாமி ஐயர் அவரை பத்தி பேசும்போது என்ன நம்ம நினைக்கிறோம்னா, அவர் ஸ்ட்ரீட் லைட்ஸ் அடியிலையும் உட்கார்ந்து அவர் படிச்சவர் அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்றோம். பட் இட் வாஸ் நாட் டியூ டு டைரக்ட் ஃபினான்ஷியல் சர்க்கம்ஸ்டான்சஸ். நிறைய பேர் வந்து அதை வந்து they combined that saying that he didn't have the money, so he even read under the street lights ன்னு சொல்லுவார். that's not the correct thing because he was funded by T. Madhav Rao and there is a power cut போது அது மாதிரி பண்ணியிருந்தாரே ஒழிய not because of any financial constraints. ஸோ அதனால அந்த ஒரு கிளாரிட்டி வந்து அவர் இந்த பயோகிராஃபர் சொல்றாரு. some here used to clarifies that point regarding this particular incident. அதே மாதிரி இந்த ஹைகோர்ட் சென்டினரி வால்யூம் வந்தது in 1962. அப்போ வந்து this incident was also quoted but it was not the correct thing. ஸோ அதை வந்து கிளாரிஃபை பண்றாங்க. subsequently it was clarified and he did study under the street lights because of lack of proper illumination or due to power cut. அதனால தான், not because of any other thing. அப்புறம் என்னாச்சுன்னா Sir Henry Montgomery, who was in the counselors of the Madras University, gave financial assistance to Muthuswami. And நாய்க்கு தான் வந்து அவருடைய அந்த வில்லேஜ் அக்கௌண்டன்ட், அவரும் வந்து கொடுத்துட்டு இருந்தார். He used to send some money from the village to fund Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer's educational pursuits. So இப்போ now மான்காமரியும் கொடுக்குறாரு, மாதவராவும் அகாமடேஷன் எல்லாம் கொடுக்குறாங்க. And Naik also was a village accountant when he was in Tiruvarur, also still contributing to Muthuswami Iyer's education. So now he is quite comfortable, and Powell, who is the principal of the college, Residency College, took mathematics for Muthuswami. And Muthuswami Iyer showed great analytical skills in solving mathematical problems, and that encouraged Powell to take extra interest in Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer. So that was how the relationship between Powell and Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer developed. And in the later years, Sir Muthuswami Iyer always turned to Powell for any doubts or clarifications in the English language. And also in certain clarity, if we did not have any clarity in certain things, general things, not legal things, let alone legal things கிடையாது, general, any clarity which he wanted, he turned to his master, his guru, Powell. So this is how their relationship built. Sometimes என்ன ஆகும்னா அந்த கிளாஸஸ்லாம் வந்து லேட் ஆகும், இல்ல சம்டைம்ஸ் இருக்கும்போது Powell will use drops Muthuswami Iyer in his own carriage. அவர் கேரேஜ்லயே அவனை கூட்டிட்டு போய் and dropped him at his residence in Mylapore. Mylapore தான் அவர் இருந்தார். At that time he was in Mylapore. And he used to show very warm affection to his pupil, and he also kept him under his personal supervision for the greater part of the day, so that Muthuswami Iyer did not stray from his path or goals. அவரு வந்து பிற்காலத்துல வந்து முத்துசாமி ஐயர் பவலை பத்தி சொல்லும் பொழுது அவர் சொல்றாரு, I am one of those who have profited by the influence of good teaching. நல்ல ஆசிரியர்கள். It was my good fortune to be a pupil of a great teacher who is remembered with gratitude throughout this country and whose statue adorns the Presidency College. இன்னைக்கு போனீங்கன்னா Presidency Collegeல பவலோடைய ஸ்டாச்சு அங்க இருக்கும். நீங்க யார் எப்ப வேணா நீங்க அந்த பக்கம் போகும்போது நீங்க பாருங்க. So he was the man who contributed to the growth of the education, and that is why his statue is still there in the Madras Presidency College. I need hardly tell you that I refer to Mr. Powell. I have profited night and day. As சொல்றாரு, Muthuswami Iyer is now talking about Powell, his guru. I say night because I have spent several evenings up to 9 o'clock in marking the course of planets and comets through the equatorial by his lessons of earnestness and devotion to work, and by his frown at anything that was mean or silly, and by his smile at anything good and noble. I may also tell you that in afterlife, many of those who had the good fortune to have been brought into contact with him have remembered him throughout their public career. I do not say, therefore, too much when I publicly confess that if I know anything that is good, I owe it in a great measure to the influence of such a great teacher exercised upon me. So அவர் பவலை பத்தி சொல்லும் போது எதா இருந்தாலும் நான் நல்லது எதான செஞ்சேன்னா செஞ்சிருந்தேன்னா it is only due to the teaching of Mr. Powell. So whatever I am today, I am because of my teacher. அப்படிங்கறத சுருக்கமா சொல்றேன், but he said it in so many words that shows the affection he had for Powell and vice versa. Powell had for at the same time, a junior European master of the high school, finding that Muthuswami had to walk all the way from Mylapore to Nungambakam, where the school was then located, offered to pay for the young boys Jatka fees. Jatka na the Kudravandi. And the Jatka fees are not கொடுக்குறேன்னு ஒரு யூரோப்பியன் மாஸ்டர் வந்து முன் வந்தார். அப்போ வந்து தட் வாஸ் ₹7 per month. ஜட்கா ஃபீஸுங்கிறது அந்த குதிரை அந்த சவாரி ஓடுறதுக்கு ₹7 ஒரு மாசத்துக்கு ₹7. ஸோ முத்துசாமியார் வேற வழி இல்லாம ஒத்துந்தாரு, நான் வாங்கிக்கிறேன்னு சொல்லி ஒத்துந்தாரு. பட் ஆஃப்டர் சம் டைம் when he started earning a little, he said he will not accept that money. And other the explanation given was Muthuswami went to the master and requested to be allowed his own discretion in the matter. நான் இதை வாங்க மாட்டேன், நீங்க முதல்ல கொடுத்தீங்க, நான் ஒத்துக்கிறேன், பட் now I'm in a position to pay that money, so I will not do that அப்படின்னு சொல்லி he refused to take that ₹7 after some time. So that is the integrity and the straightforwardness of Muthuswami. So that was one of the hallmarks of his conduct and character in the court also. அதையும் நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்றேன் என்னதுன்னு. Sir Muthuswami completed the high school and then passed out with flying colors. In 1854, after 1846, on the phase of the 1854, the Council of Education, the council who ran the University of Madras, the Council of Education institute a money prize of ₹500 for the best essay in English. And a lot of students competed for that prize because ₹500 in 1854 is a very big money. And Sir Muthuswami got the prize and was declared as a prizeman for the year. And it was published in the school calendar the next year. And he thus received an award of ₹500 and another sum of ₹75, which he obtained as a school prize for the year. So, essayக்குன்னு ஒரு தனி prize, the best student of the schoolங்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு தனி prize. So, he got ₹575 அந்த ஒரு வருஷம். He got that money. This is a very big sum for in the year 1854. அதை தவிர Sir Montgomery contributed ₹25 and another 75 was received from Powell. So, அந்த வருஷம் it was a bonanza year for Sir T. Muthuswami. அவர் என்ன பண்ணார், அந்த காலத்திலேயே he invested that money in government promissory notes, government bonds அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. கவர்மெண்ட் பாண்ட்ஸ்ல அந்த ₹575 இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்றாரு. அதை வந்து கடைசி காலம் மட்டும் அதை வச்சுட்டு இருக்காரு. He died in 1895. Till that time, he retained those government bonds to show and for him to remember how he had started from a scratch and how he had invested that money. அப்படிங்கிறத very very அதை இன்னும் கடைசி இதுல வந்து சொல்றாரு. துரைசாமியர் in his biography of Muthuswami says that till his end he retained those government bonds. So Presidency College இப்போ முடிச்சாச்சு. Now he has completed Presidency College. He had come out with flying colors and our பேர் வந்து it was published in the Fort St. George Gazette as the prizeman. அவரோட பேர் வந்து இப்போ வந்து ஸ்லோவா பரவின் வருது. Everybody knows him, who he is, and the Fort St. George also publishes his name for getting the prize. And it was announced that he was fit for any service under the government. அந்த இது வந்து பப்ளிஷ் பண்றாங்க that Mr. Muthuswami is qualified and is fit to take up any service under the government. Eventually, it was published in the Port St. George Gazette. Mr. Powell employed Muthuswami Iyer he was aged 23 years at that time as a tutor in his institution on a salary of rupees 60 per month. So Powell வந்து அவருடைய காலேஜ்லயே அவரை வந்து ஒரு டியூட்டரா போடுறாங்க. Tutor at the age of 23 years, பாத்துக்கங்க, on a monthly salary of rupees 60, which was quite high. Then he would Mr. Powell also promised to help Muthuswami Iyer to do his ICS, Indian Civil Service. In those days, it's a very prestigious thing. And he promised that he would fund or sponsor Mr. Sri Muthuswami Iyer to England to do his ICS. But at that time, he was already engaged, and his family members felt that going to England will not be a wise thing to do. So, he did not want to take a long sea voyage, because in those days, it was sometimes it was considered a taboo also to cross the boundaries of the country. So, everybody said that, you stay back and you pursue your job. So then he got a temporary appointment as a lecturer and entered public service as record keeper in the collectorate of Tanjore. So he was given a government job. He entered service as a record keeper in the collectorate of Tanjore. Then he continued in this capacity till 1856. The tests were introduced in 1853 to license the successful candidates to practice in Mofussil courts. In 1853, tests were introduced so that he could practice in the Mofussil courts. The test consisted of writing a judgment from facts provided to the candidates. The case presented to Muthuswami Iyer and other candidates who took the test in 1856. And the test was already disposed by the court. Who disposed on a court case எடுத்துட்டு they said நீங்க இந்த கேஸ நடத்தினீங்கன்னா என்ன மாதிரி ஜட்ஜ்மென்ட் எழுதுவீங்க அப்படினு சொல்லி the test, that was a test given to the candidates who took the test. The issue involved was whether an agreement entered into regarding distribution of property contrary to Hindu law was binding on the parties. The test that was is whether by an agreement which is contrary to the Hindu law can be entertained by the court. Muthuswami Iyer in his judgment in the test held that such an agreement was binding even if it was contrary to Hindu law. A view which was judicially held by Mr. Byongcham himself, and the matter was taken up to the appellate court. So the judge who wrote the judgment also wrote the same thing, and it was taken up on appeal to the Madras High Court. So the Muthuswami Iyer's legal ingenuity and bore result and fruit, and he passed the test with high credentials. Holloway, the next Holloway was also in the council, and he took a great interest in Sir Muthuswami Iyer. And later Holloway himself paved the way for Muthuswami Iyer becoming a judge of the Madras High Court. அவரே என்ன சொன்னார்னா, என்னை விட முத்துசாமி ஐயர் பெட்டர், அதனால முதல்ல அவரை எலிவேட் பண்ணுங்க, then you elevate me அப்படிங்கிற. So see the magnanimity of those person. A man who was his teacher tells that my student is better than me, so kindly elevate him to be a judge of the Madras High Court, and after that let me be elevated later அப்படிங்கிறார். See that, I mean, the greatness of these people. So then what happened was, Arbuthnot was also another counselor in the Madras University, so as Holloway, and he suggested to his friend Arbuthnot, who was then the director of public instruction, not to object to his proposal to appoint Muthuswami Iyer as a district munsif. Holloway suggests that Muthuswami Iyer should become a district munsif. So he, Atmanaut was the director of public instruction. That is the secretary, my home secretary, my. So he said, don't object if if I suggest his name, but Atmanaut had no intention of supporting that view because he was not in favor of Sir Muthuswami, and he objected strongly. So he said, before you elevate him or appoint him as a district munsif, he should be given administrative job to find out how far he is able to organize himself, and then you can probably appoint him as a district munsif. So after much correspondence between these two people, Holloway and Atmanaut, Muthuswami Iyer was shifted to the Judicial Department on 12th May 1857 after a signal service of 15 months in the Educational Department. Then after that, he was appointed as a district munsif in the 3rd grade and posted to a court at Trankabar in the district of Tanjavur. That's how Muthuswami Iyer became a district munsif in Trankabar. Trankabarla வந்து என்னாச்சுன்னா, the district judge paid a surprise visit to his court. When he was a district munsif, the district judge of Trankabar paid a surprise visit to his court and was very much impressed by the way in which he conducted the court. And so he wrote a letter to the government saying that Muthuswami Iyer was one of those who were well fitted to sit with him on the same bench. So he said he's ready, he should be elevated, and he is a person who should be fit enough to sit in the same bench with me. So as a district munsif, Muthuswami Iyer introduced several new systems of office keeping office, registers, diaries, which after his suggestion to the authorities were adopted throughout the district. The system of maintaining records, அப்படிங்கிறது அவருடைய பீரியட் தான் ஆரம்பமாச்சு. How do you maintain records? Court records. How do you keep the diaries? இப்போ நீங்க எவ்வளவு டைரிஸ் பாக்குறீங்க கோர்ட்ல? You have entry diary இருக்கு, மற்ற எவ்வளவு டைரிஸ், numbering diary, everything, every file which is moved from one table to another, there has to be a diary entry. So this was bought or brought by Sir Muthuswami Iyer, and that is where the system of diaries started entering the court halls. இதே சிஸ்டம் தான் இப்போ இன்னும் மெயின்டைன் பண்றாங்க ஹைகோர்ட். What he started in 1856 is what is now being maintained in the High Court also. Of course, there are more records, but the entries to be made, the system of entries to be made in every court record is it's the same as what he had introduced. அப்ப அவர் எவ்வளவு far sightedness இருந்திருக்கணும்? How much he would have anticipated that the number of litigations will increase. These sorts of maintaining the diaries, how far they will be helpful in tracing the records or tracing the files from one table to another table. So this is the basis on which the record system started in every court. இது இன்னொரு கேஸ்ல என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, ஒரு சிவில் சூட் அவர் நடத்திட்டு இருக்காரு. அந்த 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 சூட்ல வந்து அவருடைய டீச்சரே வந்து மாட்டிக்கிறாரு. The person who taught Muthuswami Iyer was caught and he was brought before the court. So அந்த கோர்ட்ல வந்து இவர் என்ன ஒண்ணு Muthuswami Iyer சொல்றாரு, நீங்க இல்ல பரவாயில்ல, அவரை ask him to get down from the box, நான் அப்புறம் அவரை நான் பேசுறேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவர் மரியாதைக்கோசரம் அவர் இறங்க சொல்றாரு இந்த கோர்ட்ல இருந்து. So after that the teacher became calm. அவர் was go agitated. என்ன நம்ம பையன் வந்து நம்ம இதையே பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி he was very agitated because he had to appear before his own student. So knowing the dilemma or the precarious condition, situation, Sir Muthuswami says, "La sir, நீங்க அந்த பாக்ஸ்ல இறங்குங்க, நான் அப்புறம் I will deal with him later ன்னு சொல்லி அந்த மரியாதைக்கோசரம் அவர் இறக்கிறார் பாக்ஸ்ல இருந்து. பட் அந்த டீச்சர் வந்து அவர் இன்னும் அவரை ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்டாவே நினைச்சு வந்து என்ன பண்றாரு, வாயில வந்து கத்துறாரு. என்ன எங்களெல்லாம் மரியாதையே கிடையாது, என்னென்ன இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் ட்ரீட் பண்றீங்க, இஸ் இஸ் தி வே டு ட்ரீட் அ டீச்சர் அப்படி இப்படின்னு சொன்ன உடனே இவருக்கு வந்து he couldn't say anything. ஸோ என்ன பண்றாருன்னா ரொம்ப குவைட்டா இவரை வந்து டீடைன் பண்ணி வச்சிடுறாரு. He had to give some punishment to him. So he detains him in his office. ஜெயில்லாம் இல்ல. அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, காத்தால இருந்து சாயங்காலம் மட்டும் என் ரூம்ல போய் உட்கார சொல்லுங்க, அவர் எங்கேயும் போக கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லி அவர் ரூம்லயே உட்கார வச்சிருக்காரு. He could not go anywhere except sitting in his room till the evening. And then he said, he told him, sir, நீங்க தப்பு பண்ணிருக்கீங்க, அதனாலதான் உங்களை நாங்க பண்றோம். But you cannot see, law is above all of us. So I have to give you some punishment. So இது ஒரு மைனர் அஃபென்ஸா இருக்கிறதுனால என்ன அஃபென்ஸ்னா, he was taking some அந்த ஆல்பபெட் இதெல்லாம் இருக்கும் பாத்தீங்களா, அந்த இதெல்லாம் இருக்கும் ஆல்பபெட்ஸ், அந்த பிளாக்ஸ் மாதிரி இருக்கும், அதெல்லாம் எடுத்துட்டு போயிடுறாரு அவர் வீட்டுக்கு. So the complaint was given by the school saying that this man is taking away all the alphabets which is meant for the children. So that is how he got caught and he was brought before this court. So Muthuswamy, knowing him very well, said that we will give him the respect he required, and instead of embarrassing him in front of others, he said he go and he has to be detained from morning till evening, but the detention will be in my room. He can go and sit in my room and he can wait there for till the evening, and he'll be allowed to go back. Then he called the teacher and admonished him in unoffending method. திட்டுறதுன்னா அது ஒரு ரொம்ப மரியாதையா திட்டுறது. Unoffending words, that in future he should not misbehave anywhere. And the suit failed for the party on whose behalf the witness was cited. So அந்த ஒரு வார்னிங்கோட வந்து the teacher was let off with a warning saying that we should not be doing these things because he is a teacher. 1859 was the year Sir Muthuswamy was transferred from the judicial section to the revenue department. Revenue department where you had all these the property taxes in the property agriculture lands or the KISS, mostly revenue collections, because he needed to get an exposure to that branch also. So he was transferred from judicial to revenue department, and he served as a deputy collector in the Inam Commission for 3 years. He continued in office with full magisterial powers. He had the magisterial powers also as a revenue. The Tahsildar, DRO, RDO, they had magisterial powers. He displayed abundant energy and efficiency in both magisterial and revenue work. It was during this tenure that John Bruce Norton, that is Eardley Norton father. Eardley Norton was one of the greatest barristers, which I'll be talking to all of you in one of these sessions. Avaruடைய father தான் வந்து Bruce Norton. They are the Nortons of Madras. It's a very big chapter in the history of judicial journey. அவங்கள பத்தி அது it's a very long. In fact, there are 2 volumes written about Eardley Norton, and that itself is a connoisseur collection. So அதுல Bruce Nortonல வந்து he was also the Advocate General. That is Eardley Norton's father. Bruce Norton was also the Advocate General of Madras and appeared as a counsel in a trial which lasted for 15 days. Muthuswamy committed an accused charge of cheating to the sessions, and it was during this time that J.B. Norton, that is Eardley Norton father, was so struck with Muthuswamy's abilities that on his return to Madras, he told his friends Holloway and Arbuthnot that judicial talent of a very high order was wasted in a revenue department. You are wasting him in a revenue department when he has such high judicial abilities. It so happened that a vacancy rose on the சமயத்துல 1859, a vacancy arose in Mangalore. Mangalore was a part of the Madras presidency at that time, and it needed an officer well acquainted with the new civil procedure code. The new civil procedure code, which was introduced at that time, needs a good officer to apply that. Muthuswami Iyer was in the habit of equipping himself with up-to-date knowledge required for his work, and he was well acquainted with the new code. In recognition of his knowledge and experience, he was appointed as a subject of South Canara on 9th July 1865. So 1865, he became a subject. The circumstances in which he was so appointed is also interesting. And it also another well-known episode from Muthuswami Iyer's life. So Holloway, who was his mentor also, I can say he was his mentor also, was asked to suggest 3 names amongst the best available for the post of a subject. Instead of giving the 3 names, Holloway வந்து அவருடைய அபிஷியல் நோட்ல என்ன எழுதுறாருன்னா, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் முத்துசாமி, செகண்ட் முத்துசுவாமி, மூணாவது முத்துசுவாமி. He recommends Muthuswami for in all these 3. He says there is no other better person. So Muthuswami should be the person, as there are no other persons. So that is how the official note of Holloway mentions Muthuswami's name. So as a subject of South Canara, Muthuswami Iyer not only performed his assigned task in court extremely well, but readily utilized his leisure hours to the spread of education and promotion of fellow feeling. So he started spreading the knowledge and education to his fellow people also. அதுல ஒருத்தர் ஓ சந்தா மேனன் ஒருத்தர் இருந்தார். Chanda Menon was the subject who paid graceful tribute to Muthuswami Iyer's work in South Canada and once said, he was hardly 33 years. அதாவது Chanda Menon is talking about Muthuswami Iyer. He was hardly 33 years old when he came here, and yet the impression the comparatively young judge made on the minds of the people here was that he was not only an extremely well-read lawyer and jurist, even at that early age, but also a very patient, hard-working, careful judge who did his work very consciously and ostentatiously. A gentleman whose urbanity and accessibility in private life were remarkable and was quite free even in his youth from pride, vanity, self-sufficiency, or any kind of self-conceit. He was a very balanced person. In spite of his knowledge in the various subjects, he maintained his balance, and also that he was never self-conceited or vain, which is very, very important. And he won within the 3 years of his residence the golden opinions of the bar and the bench of the Bangalore courts. And it was out of respect and admiration for him that the bar and bench held him in very high esteem. And when he was, and because of his performance and his efficiency, he was appointed as a judge of the small causes court at Madura in July 1877, where he stayed for a few months until April 1978. He then came back to Madras. No more transfers were made which required him to serve in other stations, outstations. He was appointed as a police magistrate in the city of Madras. It was not an easy task in those days to deal with British offenders. It was always delicate, and no one, on one such occasion, the accused was no less a person than a High Court judge, a European, who was on charge of assault. So when he was a police magistrate, magisterial courts from GT and Egmore law. So அந்த கோர்ட்ல ஒரு High Court judge he was made to appear for assault. என்ன கேஸ்னா அது a native was thrashed by the High Court judge for alleged trespass into his premises. The Indian applied for summons against the judge for assault. Muthuswami Iyer stood firm in his decision to issue summons for the appearance of the judge, although the senior magistrate proposed at the trial not to insist on the appearance of the High Court judge. The High Court judge had to appear and was fined rupees 3 for breach of law, which he had to administer. So that was his caliber. He ensured that the High Court judge also paid a fine of rupees 3 and he was not given any concessions. It was during this time as the police magistrate that Sir Muthuswami Iyer focused on writing the BL examination. He passed the exam very creditably and stood second in the list. The candidate who stood first in the list was none other than V. Bhashyam Iyengar, who also later became a judge of the Madras High Court. Bhashyam Iyengaruடைய ஸ்டாச்சு வந்து மெட்ராஸ் கீழே இருக்கும். நீங்க மெட்ராஸ் ஹைகோர்ட் இந்த நார்த் கேட் என்டர் பண்ணும்போது கீழே இருக்கும் அவரோட ஸ்டாச்சு. சர் முத்துசாமி ஐயரோட ஸ்டாச்சு வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஃப்ளோர்ல இருக்கு. பாஷ்யம் ஐயங்காருடைய ஸ்டாச்சு வந்து கிரவுண்ட் ஃப்ளோர்ல இருக்கு. The doyens அவங்கதான். So Bhashyam Iyengar stood first. Muthuswami came next. Sir Muthuswami came next. But the words of John Bruce Norton in one of his speeches at the Pachayappan College are worth to recall. He was the chancellor of Pachayappan College. If he, that is Muthuswami Iyer, is not the head of the list, he has only been beaten by a very few marks by a younger competitor who, it must be remembered, has had the advantage of being able to devote his entire time to his studies, while Muthuswami Iyer had all his magisterial duties to perform and has only been able to devote his leisure to fitting himself for the examination. அவருடைய புரூஸ் நாட்டனுடைய ஒரு திங்கிங் பாருங்க. அவர் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, பாஷ்யம் ஐயங்கார் வந்து வேலை செய்யாம படிப்புன்னு இருந்து படிச்சதுனால அவர் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்தாரு. Whereas Muthuswami Iyer had to do the magisterial work, duties, perform the functions, and அந்த வேலையெல்லாம் முடித்த பிறகு அவர் படிச்சுட்டு வந்தாரு. அவ்வளவு படிச்சுட்டு வரும்போதே அவர் செகண்டா வந்திருக்காரு. So then imagine his capacity அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அப்படி சொல்றாரு அவர். Bruce Norton says he is better than Bhashyam Iyengar because he had to do other work, not only just study. So Muthuswami Iyer was then appointed as the judge of the small causes court at Madras, and it was in this situation that he found time to master German law books in the original with the help of Holloway, a judge of the Madras High Court. Once as judge of the small causes court at Madras, he had to try a case in which a man was sued for a debt of about rupees 200. That man happened to be Muthuswami Iyer's friend from his early days. So before the hearing, that man tried to take advantage of his former friendship with the judge. At the trial, however, the case was proved for the plaintiff and a decree was passed against the defendant, that is Muthuswami Iyer's friend. At the time of execution, Muthuswami Iyer issued a warrant for the defendant's name. But Muthuswami Iyer at the same time handed the bailiff a check for a sum that would satisfy the decree. See the way in which people thought. So even though the defendant suffered a decree, Muthuswami Iyer handed a check to the bailiff to be paid to the execution court, so that the decree can be satisfied. However, the bailiff was told to enforce the arrest before satisfying the decree, to show that the man had made a he had committed a wrong. Muthuswami Iyer told the man that he had paid the debt for old acquaintances' sake and because of the man's poverty and not on account of his conduct at the trial, which was most reprehensible. His biographer Doraisamy Iyer commented that the incident shows that the judge was free from personal bias and from any considerations other than fair justice. Even though it was his friend, he ensured that there was justice done, and at the same time, He had to enforce the law also. Justice is one, law is another. So these are the two aspects which Sir Muthuswami Iyer very clearly highlighted in his conduct. In 1877, going forward, in 1877, the Queen Victoria held an imperial assembly at Delhi on her assumption as the Empress of India. Muthuswami Iyer was invited as a guest, and he attended the assembly, and he went there without previous intimation of his visit. When he was going to that assembly in Delhi, he called on his the Nawab of Alagir, that is Nawab Said Ahmad of Alagir. அவரை பார்த்துட்டு போலான்னு சொல்லிட்டு he goes to his house. He went there without previous intimation of his visit. என்னன்னா இந்த நவாப் வந்து he gets up very late in the morning. He gets up only at 9 o'clock in the morning. And Sir Muthuswami arrived at his house very early. Very early during the day. So the Nawab servants took him to be a very ordinary visitor and did not even offer him a seat. For Muthuswami Iyer, unmindful of the want of courtesy, waited to meet the Nawab at the appropriate hour and was soon provided with a seat within the compound, though not in the visitor's parlor. So, the Nawab எழுந்தப்புறம் he came to know that Sir Muthuswami had come. He was not Sir Muthuswami at the time, he was Muthuswami at that time. He sent his card, and no sooner the Nawab saw that he had hastened to receive, அவரே வந்துட்டார் Muthuswami receive பண்றதுக்கு with all honor and courtesy. When Muthuswami left the Nawab inquired of his servants the time when he came. On coming to know the time that he had come very early, the Nawab ran up to the judge and begged to be excused for what the servants had unwittingly done. Muthuswami simply smiled and assured the Nawab of the pleasure he derived from the visit. அவ்வளவுதான், அதோட முடிஞ்சு போச்சு. There were no tantrums, nothing. He just said, it's all right, don't get worried. And he paid his courtesy to Nawab. 1978, 1st January, Muthuswami Iyer was conferred the distinction of the Companion of the Indian Empire, CIE. It's an honor given to very few Indian citizens. And in 1978, January, he was conferred the Companion of the Indian Empire, a title that was not very easy to get, very rare. Then he returned to Madras from Delhi, and a new epoch in the history of Madras High Court was about to begin. The door to becoming a High Court judge was closed to the native, whether he was a vakil or not. So, the judging was closed to the natives of Madras. Only Europeans or the Englishmen were conferred that positions. It was at a time when the seat on the High Court was kept a close preserve of civilian officers and European barristers only. So civilian officers, ICS, and European barristers were the only ones to adorn that chair in the High Court. But there was no yardsticks for that. And any native had to pass before he was considered a fit candidate for the position. Was a test at large. So, if at all the event of a native becoming High Court judge could happen, two things were required. The one from the native and other from the European. Nothing short of extraordinary merit and exemplary performance in all the earlier endeavors were expected of the native candidate. So it should be extraordinarily good, and he should be recommended by an English judge or an ICS officer. And yet, without absolute impartiality and the complete absence of prejudice and bias on the part of the authorities in finding the right man for the post, the native stood no chance of becoming a judge. So unless there is a impartial view, without any prejudice or bias, there is a recommendation from the British judge or a British ICS officers the native had no chance of becoming a judge. But in the case of Mr. Sri Muthuswami Iyer, he had more than fulfilled what was expected of the native. Fortunately for him, those who thought him fit to adorn the mantle of judgeship more than fulfilled what was expected of them. So within 3 months of his coming to Madras, Muthuswami Iyer was appointed sub-pro tem judge of the Madras High Court. That is, as an additional judge in Solramari, he became a sub-pro tem judge of the Madras High Court. His appointment naturally made all sections of the Indian public joyous. In the words of Doraiswamy Iyer, undoubtedly, it was regarded as an epoch in the history of the presidency, and the government was profusely thanked for his great departure from its time-honored red tapeism. So, what was not done before was done in the case of Sri Muthuswamy Iyer because of his extraordinary capacity and talent, and nothing short of that. It was well known that the origin of the Hindu newspaper நீங்க பார்க்குறீங்க இல்லையா இப்போ, was closely associated with the debate on the elevation of Muthuswamy Iyer to the High Court of Madras. There were newspapers that openly sided with the bureaucracy and criticized the elevation. To some others, including the Republican Literary Society, denying the elevation was an instance of injustice. It was in the championing of the appointment of an Indian to the office of a judgeship in the Madras High Court that gave the reason for the startling of the Hindu in 1878. So Hindu started becoming popular only because of this article or the debate that they had written regarding the elevation of Sir T. Muthuswamy. So Hindu also started in the year 1878. When Muthuswamy Iyer was appointed, the Hindu minced no words when it noted the splendid abilities of Muthuswamy Iyer had shamed the Madras government from its stolid indifference to an obvious duty, and as a consequence, he was elevated to the High Court bench. That was a moment of triumph for Muthuswamy Iyer personally. From a monthly salary of ₹1, the young boy from Tiruvarur, அதான் அந்த ஆர்டிக்கல் எழுதுறாங்க ஹிந்துல. From a monthly salary of ₹1, the young boy from Tiruvarur had climbed the ladder of eminence to becoming a High Court judge, drawing a salary of ₹3,500. As Doraiswamy Iyer quoted, in the biography, Muthuswamy Iyer was addressing the students of the Madras University, and in that he had said, let constant industry, honest devotion to duty, simplicity of character, and unflagging integrity of conduct, and a modest estimate of your work be your ladder to eminence. That is what he advises the students of the Madras University, that these are the Taraka Mantra for becoming, for climbing up the ladder. So this is how Sir T. Muthuswamy Iyer, who started his career as a errand boy in the office of the accountant, rose to become a High Court judge. In fact, it was written about Sir Muthuswamy Iyer that the knowledge and experience he gained in various roles earlier in his career. That is, I have taken you the journey of Sri Muthuswamy Iyer, ஒரு accountant office ல இருந்து வேலை செஞ்சு, then he became a lecturer in the institution through his hard work. அதுக்கப்புறம் then he became a then he worked in the revenue department with magisterial powers. Then he became a sub-judge. All these experiences helped him immensely as a High Court judge because he knew everything hands-on. இப்போ சில பேர் டைரக்டா எலிவேஷன்லாம் வரும்போது you will not know what is the ground realities or what is the groundwork you need to do and what is the actual difficulties or the challenges you face. இதெல்லாம் வந்து அவர் கடந்து வந்ததுனால ஒரு ஹைகோர்ட் ஜட்ஜா உட்காரும்போது அவருக்கு ஈஸியா புரிஞ்சிடுறது. இந்த இந்த டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்ல இப்படிதான் இருக்கும், இந்த டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்ல இப்படிதான் இருக்கும், இதுதான் ரெக்கார்ட்ஸ், இப்படிதான் ரெக்கார்ட்ஸ் வச்சுக்கணும். பிகாஸ் he was also a record keeper. He knew what are the records. A to Z of the records he knew everything. இந்த ரெக்கார்ட்ஸ் தான் இருக்கும், இந்த ரெக்கார்ட்ஸ் தான் மெயின்டைன் பண்ணணும், இப்படிதான் வரணும், இப்படிதான் செய்யணுங்கிற அவரே he was the instrumental in creating the records. Or rather, he was a record keeper. He created the system for the records. So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷன்ல ஒரு ஜட்ஜ் ஆகும்போது everything he knew. So there was nothing he did not know. So அதுதான் வந்து Eardley Norton is quoted to have said. Eardley Norton is the son of Bruce Norton, as I told you, he was Advocate General of Madras, and Eardley Norton himself was an eminent barrister. I'll be talking about him in the next few discourses. That Eardley Norton is quoted to have said somewhere that many a Chief Justice of the Madras High Court owed his judicial preeminence to the early training that he, as a puny judge, had received at the hands of Muthuswami Iyer. இதை விட என்ன உங்களுக்கு வேணும்? அவர் என்ன சொல்றாரு? Every Chief Justice who had succeeded Muthuswami Iyer later were lucky to have received the training under Muthuswami Iyer as a puny judge. So the training imparted by Muthuswami Iyer to the junior judges of the bench had great significance in their becoming a Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. After his elevation, when Muthuswami Iyer sat on the bench, being in a heightened state of awareness that he was the first Indian to sit with other English judges, it was only with considerable trepidation that he heard and decided the first case that came before him. His experience is narrated by Parameswaran Pillai in the famous book Representative Men of South India. Pillai said it was the first time that a native of India had been elevated to such an exalted position. And Muthuswami Iyer confessed to experiencing feelings of considerable trepidation when he tried his first case. எல்லாருக்கும் அந்த ஒரு நர்வஸ்னஸ் இருக்கும். They will have their jitteries because they are doing the first time they are experiencing doing a new subject or a new law. So even Muthuswami Iyer had the same nervousness when he was handling the cases for the first time. And to his dismay, one of the first cases which were put up before him was a breach of promise case. The first case he handled as a judge of the Madras High Court was a breach of promise case. So, as a Hindu, he was a complete stranger to the European manners and customs, and he feared that his unfamiliarity with European life would lead him to some egregious blunders. So he was very nervous. He, however, carefully studied the evidence and wrote and rewrote his judgment several times before delivering it. With positive fear and trembling, he read his judgment out in the open court, and to his intense relief and satisfaction, it met with great commendation from the members of the bar. So even though he was very nervous in delivering the judgment, the judgment which he delivered was welcomed by the bar to his great relief. But subsequently, success after success followed, and in a short time, he was recognized as one of the ablest judges of the Madras High Court. It was not intended here to go into many judgments Muthuswami Iyer had delivered. For those interested, the book Indian Judges, published by the esteemed publishing house G.A. Natesan and Company, has a sketch of Muthuswami Iyer, and the chapter has a long list of citations of the great important judgments, along with brief reference to the subject matter. So, அந்த புக்கில் வந்து the Indian Judges அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு புக்கில் வந்து the citations or the number of cases dealt by Sri Muthuswami Iyer is been elaborated. The real impression, அதாவது இப்போ வந்து இதெல்லாம் அந்த see, first he started on a nervous thing, and then he, of course, he became one of the greatest judges of all times. But the general impression of Muthuswami Iyer in the role of eminent judges was that his brother judges held him in highest respect and so well considered, and nobody differed from him. See, this is one of the greatest advantages. If your brother judges are always sailing with you in all these things, then that makes a lot of difference to the esteem of the person. So that is the respect which Mr. Sri Muthuswami Iyer enjoyed. None of the judges who were sitting with him in the bench differed from him. They always felt that he was correct. And it was only with doubt and hesitation, so deep was his learning, so well considered his conclusions, invariably particular reference is made of Muthuswami Iyer's employment of his vast abilities to reconcile the text of law with the usage of the people. And in building up in this way, a sound system of Hindu jurisprudence was developed. So he was able to reconcile the law and the fact. In the law, in the fact, apply aguma agada. Then how do you reconcile the situation? So in the Maria Panna, he developed the Hindu jurisprudence. The Hindu law owes its existence and basics. So that is how the Hindu law also developed. Pandits round him to discuss the questions of Hindu law when he formed his own opinions. He discussed with a lot of Hindu Pandits whenever he is delivering judgments on Hindu law. So all these made him a very able and a very capable judge. Sankaran Nair was also another judge of the Madras High Court. Recalled a rather amusing incident concerning a suit decided by Muthuswami Iyer. In his words, while he was a judge of the small causes court, a grass cutter woman brought a suit to recover a few rupees from her employer. So, ஒரு grass cutter அவங்க சம்பளம் கொடுக்கலன்னு சொல்லி she brought a suit before Muthuswami Iyer in the small causes court. அந்த சூட்ல the employer சொல்றாரு that this lady is not entitled for these wages because she did not work or that she was not employed during that time அப்படிங்கறத சொல்றாரு. So Muthuswami Iyer wrote a learned judgment which extended to 70 pages. அந்த ஒரு கேஸ் 70 பேஜ் judgment, reviewing all the English cases beginning with Cutter versus Powell. That was the first earliest law at that point of time. He read the judgment to the woman, translating it to her, and as he stopped at intervals, she would say, "Seri, yes, yes," அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டே வந்தாங்க அந்த woman. கடைசியில என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, she understood that the case was against her, going against her. Then she burst out, "You sinner, அட பாவி," அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அந்த மாதிரி கத்துறாங்க அந்த கோர்ட்ல. இதுக்கோசரமா நான் நீ இவ்வளவு கஷ்டப்பட்டு ஒரு ஜட்ஜ் ஆன அப்படின்னு சொல்லி திட்டுறாங்க அந்த அம்மா அந்த இவரை. And weepingly she left the place, knowing that she has lost the case. So as she was leaving the courthouse, Muthuswami Iyer's colleague அப்போ இருக்காரு ரங்கநாத சாஸ்திரி. அவரும் he also became a judge of the Madras High Court. Ranganatha Sastri was our வேலையை முடிச்சுட்டு வராரு. He was also a judge. He saw her and asked her என்ன ஆச்சு அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது அவங்க சொல்றாங்க இந்த மாதிரி நடந்தது. So அவர் என்ன சொல்றாரு, நீ அப்பீல் ஃபைல் பண்ணு, ஓகே. அப்போ முத்துசாமி நானும் பெஞ்சில் உட்காருவோம், then we'll see what can be done அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவர் சொல்றாரு. So appeal was filed and the judgment was filed with Muthuswami and another judge. So in the appeal the reverse பண்றாங்க. முத்துசாமியோட ஜட்ஜ்மென்ட்டை they reverse that, with Muthuswami also sitting in that appeal. இப்போ அந்த காலத்திலே நடந்திருக்கு. So it was not as though you cannot sit on your judgment. இப்போ Justice Arun Mishra in his latest land acquisition matter கூட நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா, he was the instrumental in writing the judgment of a 2-judge bench. He also sat in the 5-judge bench on the land acquisition matters. So, and the practice வந்து அப்பவும் நடந்திருக்கு, இப்பவும் நடந்திருக்கு. So there was nothing wrong in that. So it was whether there was any prejudice caused by Sir Muthuswami Iyer, or whether he could judge impartially his own judgment, are matters which have stood the test of time. So this is one of the highlights of Justice Muthuswami Iyer's career in the judicial profession. Next வந்து what happened was Eardley Norton, who was also one of the leading barristers at the time, narrated an incident where he said Eardley Norton he arrived in Madras in July 1879. One particular case, there was a particular case in 1879 when Muthuswami Iyer was on the bench for only 1 or 2 years. In his appreciation of Muthuswami Iyer, which he wrote from 42 Chowrangi Lane, Calcutta, because Calcutta also he was practicing, on 25th April 1911, Eardley recalled memorable occasions concerning Muthuswami Iyer and paid rich tribute and eloquent tribute to the judge, and gave a picturesque description of the judge on the bench, and of course introduced his lament humor at his own expense. And he writes about Muthuswami Iyer. Now we come to 1 or 2 judgments of Muthuswami. The 2 judgments which I would like to quote. Then I'll go to the other things probably in the next. Muthuswami Iyer and the Hindu law. This is one of the important things, because the Hindu law owed its emergence and evolution to Muthuswami. One of the main reasons. Muthuswami Iyer was an expert in Hindu law because he knew all the customs and usages, because he himself being a Hindu and a Brahmin, he knew all the usages and customs. And Hindu law at that time was not codified, and as it is today. And the laws had to be interpreted in accordance with the ancient Sanskrit text of sages like Manu, Yajnavalkya, and other wise men of ancient India. So, on the codification, they followed the text of various the sages. The complicated system of laws was explained by the sages in a matter of just few lines in Sanskrit. Problems arose in plenty in the interpretation of these lines, because in many cases the Sanskrit word had several subtle nuances and meanings which was highly confusing the British barristers. Some of them learned Sanskrit to understand the original legal tomes and texts. Others had Sanskrit pandits to help them. Nevertheless, it was a very sticky problem. Expectedly, Muthuswami Iyer excelled in Hindu law. During his time, much of the Hindu law was still in the making by the high courts of the land and also the Privy Council in London. The law was still evolving, and the general principles of jurisprudence, justice, equity, and fair play had to be adapted to blend with the social conditions of the Hindus of that period. It was in this sphere that Justice Muthuswami Iyer rose to great heights, winning recognition not only in other high courts in India, but also in the Privy Council of his decision in grey areas like adoption, succession, the imperishable estates of zamindars, religious bodies like mutts, and such institutions which were bound only by ancient shastras. So, in the சாஸ்திரத்தெல்லாம் ஒரு டெக்ஸ்டா கிரியேட் பண்ணி, and he was able to condense everything and give it or put it in the form of judgments in various cases. So Iyer, his opinion of Hindu law was when he was one of the judgments which he was dictating. So his opinion of Hindu law, what was his opinion? He said, it must be remembered that Hindu law, which the courts are bound to administer, is the law as received by the Hindu community, and not as it stood either in the Vedic or Smritic period of their history, and no other conception of Hindu law to be administered by the court is either judicial or rational. So, what the Hindu law which you are going to administer is the law which is received by the Hindu community, and it is not what it stood as either in the Vedic or the Shastras of the history. Holding this view, he was still for progress in the society. On the broad issue of legislative interference, he said, "It seems to me that the Orthodox party overlooks the fact that a ruling power which recognizes neutrality as the keystone of all legislative and administrative actions, and which has to deal with forms of marriage as numerous as there are races who own allegiance to it, should interpose no obstacle in the path of progress, but that should recognize the forms of marriage which the party in favor of reform may introduce from time to time. On the other hand, introduced from time to time. On the other hand, the party in favor of progress forgets that no statesman should be invited to commit himself to a course of legislative action which would invalidate marriages that are in performed in accordance with national custom, and which would thereby involve in it an irritating interference with the most important domestic event of the majority of our Majesty's Hindu subjects. என்ன ஒரு brilliance பாருங்க. It is even applicable today. It is applicable even as of today. What he said is even applicable as of today. Then the next is the Shivaganga Zameen succession dispute. This is one of the important cases that Sri Muthuswami Iyer dealt with. And the case, it was reported in 1892 to MLJ 265. Muthu Vaduganatha Thevar versus Periyasamy alias Odiyanna Thevar. 1892 to MLJ 265. In the said case, என்ன கேஸ்னா, Justice Iyer sat on appeal and was deciding the question as to whether under the Mitakshara law, succession is to be traced from the last male holder. The said appeal was dismissed with cause. The case went up to Privy Council in London, which was then the court of the last resort. The House of Lords heard the appeal. As a member of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, the Lord Wobhouse, one of the lords in the Privy Council, heard this as a member in the Privy Council. In his judgment, he made a moving reference to the passing away of T. Sri Muthuswami Iyer and his deep knowledge of Hindu law, which had been most useful to him and others of the Judicial Committee. Because when the appeal came up before the Privy Council, Sri Muthuswami Iyer had passed away in 1895. The appeal was judged in 1896 or 97. And at that time, since he was not there, Lord Wobhouse made a moving reference to Justice T. Muthuswami Iyer and was appreciating his deep knowledge of Hindu law, which had made most useful to him and other members of the Judicial Committee, and which insights they would miss thereafter. இனிமேல் அவரை மாதிரி ஜட்மெண்ட் நம்ம பார்க்க முடியுமா அப்படிங்கிற அளவுக்கு அவர் சொல்லியிருக்காரு. It was the first time that such a tribute was paid to an Indian judge by the highest court of the land, that is the Privy Council, during that period, which is a historic event indeed. So this was one of the cases which he had decided. Even if you can get a book 1892 to MLJ Pathina, probably you can see the masterful handling of the case by Sir T. Muthuswami. The next is the Tirupati case, Tirupati Lord Balaji case. Even today, that is holding the law. That is the law of the land. The East India Company, till the middle of the 19th century, oversaw the management and administration of the properties of the deity Lord Venkateshwara or Balaji. So, till 1817, the East India Company was looking after the temple administration of Lord Balaji. After the Madras Regulation of 1817 was passed, The temple came under the Board of Revenue, which supervised it through the district collector. However, a movement in England around 1840 disapproved a Christian company administering a Hindu and Muslim religious institutions. There, the turning point came. And consequently, the administrative reform management of the temple was handed over to the Mahant, who, as the head of that mutt, had his headquarters in Tirupati. He was also commonly referred to as the Mahant of Tirupati. So, the East India Company, the Board of Revenue, it went to the Mahant. When a flag staff for the temple was erected, devotees, அதாவது துவஜஸ்தம்பம்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Flag staff is துவஜஸ்தம்பம், கோவில துவஜஸ்தம்பம்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. When a flag staff for the temple was erected, devotees donated large sums of money to acquire gold coins. These were to be placed in a vessel, which was then buried at the base of the flag staff. But soon a charge of criminal breach of trust and misappropriation was made against the Mahant, with the allegation that the coins had been substituted with copper coins. So a case came up before the court that the vessel containing the gold coins were substituted with copper coins. Such a charge could have been approved or disapproved only by digging up the base of the flag staff. The religious faith proved to be an obstacle. ஸோ நீங்கள் அந்த ஃபிளாக் ஸ்டாஃப் கடையில் இந்த வெசல் வைக்கும் போது அதை தோண்டி இந்த ஃபிளாக் ஸ்டாஃபை தோண்டி எடுத்தா தான் அந்த வெசல் என்ன இருக்குன்னு தெரியும். ஸோ தேர் வர் லாட் ஆஃப் ஆப்ஸ்டிகல்ஸ் அண்ட் ரிலீஜியஸ் சென்டிமெண்ட்ஸ் எக்ஸ்பிரஸ். எப்படி நீங்க துவஜஸ்தம்பத்தை எடுப்பீங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி the case came. The Mahant pleaded that the flag staff could not be dug up after it has been sanctified and installed, and such a course would prove calamitous to the sentiments of the worshippers. Interestingly, the high priest, much against public sentiment, persevered and filed an application to have the vessel produced. The magistrate ordered the application as prayed for. Against the order of the magistrate, a revision petition was filed. A revision petition was filed before the Madras High Court, which in turn led to one of the most sensational cases in the history. அப்ப என்ன நடக்குதுன்னா, legal battle ensued between two of the greatest legal luminaries. On one side, you have Subramania Iyer, who also succeeded Muthuswami Iyer as a judge, who appeared for the high priest, and Eardley Norton, a formidable barrister, appeared for the Mahant. The case was heard by the bench of Chief Justice Arthur Collins and Justice Muthuswami Iyer. இந்த ஆர்குமெண்ட் நடக்கும்போது Norton invoked the religious sanctity of the Flagstaff, and he appealed to the court to avoid a sacrilege which could ring through the Orthodox world. He advanced every possible argument against the digging of the Flagstaff. And his argument went on for about 3 hours. After he completed his arguments, Subramania Iyer's turn then came. He spoke for less than an hour, but the effect was electric. All of Norton's arguments were smashed completely within the span of less than half an hour. He wound up his magnificent speech, a speech of real eloquence, with a well-known saying, "Let justice be done even though the heavens fall." It was one of the best speeches I have even heard from him. Compact, condensed, and full of vigor and eloquence, just like him. The bench upheld the magistrate's order, and it was a revelation. The Flagstaff எடுத்தாங்க, அந்த வெசல்ல பார்க்கும் பொழுது அதுக்குள்ள கோல்டு காயின்ஸே கிடையாது. They had just filled it up with some base metals and erected the Flagstaff on top of the vessel. So this is one of the most important cases. Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer judged, and அந்த ஒரு டிக்டேஷன் கொடுக்கும்போது என்னாச்சுன்னா, அந்த பெஞ்ச் கிளார்க் வாஸ் டேக்கிங் த டிக்டேஷன், அவருடைய அந்த பெண்ணோட நிப்பு உடைஞ்சு போயிடுறது. Arthur Collins was the Chief Justice sitting with Muthuswami Iyer. took down the dictation. யார் ஐ மீன் இதெல்லாம் வந்து இதெல்லாம் படிக்கும் போதுதான் தெரிய வருது இவ்வளவு ஒரு விஷயங்கள் நடக்கிறது அப்படின்னு. Arthur Collins took the dictation because Muthuswami Iyer was going very fluently in the dictation, and any blocks in the dictation might hamper the continuity of this case. So அவரே வந்து அந்த கடைசியில கொஞ்சம் 1 or 2 pages he took the dictation, and that was the case in which the Muthuswami Iyer the appeal was upheld, and the order of the magistrate was restored.